My dear brothers and sisters, we're holding the morning after Pesach. Pesach is the time of Geula, the time of redemption. We were redeemed 3,332 years ago, and we're told B'Nisan Asidin Ligol, Nisan, this month is the month that will be redeemed. The last meal on Pesach is called, in Chabad, is called Sudas Mashiach, the festival of the meal, the feast of Mashiach. We hope Mashiach will come. We ask for it fervently at the Seder, at the final meal as well. And Mashiach seems to have not come. So was it all for naught? Did we waste our time? Very important question. And the answer is far more important. Ramchal, or Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, writes that on Pesach we do hanhagos of Geula, we do actions of redemption, actions that show freedom and royalty. And he compares it to when you're trying to chop down a tree. You don't chop down the tree by swinging the axe one time. You're swinging the axe multiple times, many times. And eventually the tree is felled. But each whack of the axe is important. The great Rabbi, one of the great halachic deciders of the United States today, Rabbi David Cohen Shlita, told me when I spoke to him last week, he said, in Judaism, time is not linear. Time is in a circle. Because we're going back. We're traveling back to Adam Rishon Kodem Ached. Our role is to travel back to the time of Adam pre-sin. But in order to do that, as Ramchal says, we need to hit the tree many times. Each time it's making an impact. The fact that we observed Pesach, and we drank the 4 glasses of wine, and we ate the matzah and the maror, and we observed the days of Yom Tov, that was an important step forward. First of all, for many of us, hopefully it was liberating from our personal Mitzrayim, our personal Egypt. As well as nationally, it took us forward. We might not see it yet, but it's taking us forward. We accomplished something very, very important. And now we're re-engaging back in the world. I just had breakfast not long ago. I had chametz. The Zohar says, and as the Hasidic masters developed so beautifully, the concept of not eating chametz on Pesach is that we're like an infant on Pesach. We were just born. We just became a nation. And an infant has a very sensitive digestive system. And one cannot tax the digestive system of a baby too much by giving it very rich food. It'll be overwhelming. It'll be destructive. So too, chametz represents the ego, that which can border on over self-confidence and arrogance. We have to be very careful not to tax ourselves. We're not ready for that. And therefore we have to go with extreme humility. And the way we express the humility is we eat the matzah. That doesn't rise. That's very simple. But that's the 8 days of Pesach. Now we have to slowly re-engage in the world. And I believe in our personal lives, this is a very profound message for us where we're at right now. See, normally we're out there in the world. We're working, we're closing deals, maybe you're traveling for business, you're going on vacation, you're spending money, you're doing all sorts of things, you're interacting with people, and it can be a little heady. Sometimes it can cause us to have a little too high a view of ourselves. And suddenly comes this indiscernible virus and sends us all home, and suddenly we're worried about our finances, we're not spending the money, we're not closing the deals, we're not traveling around, we're just home. It's humbling. Now, it's been 5 weeks since Data, Plano, and many other organizations and many shuls and schools shut down. And it was a difficult decision. And for those 5 weeks, we were in survival mode for many of us personally. Data, Plano, our role was trying to service the people who were anxious, people who are trying to figure out how to function with their children at home, people who are worried about their preparations for Passover, ensuring that they had what they need, people who were worried about their jobs and the stability of their families. There was a lot of survival until Passover. Then Passover came, and we observed it beautifully. Now that Pesach's over, it's time to engage in life. We have what's quite likely a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks of being at home now. And we have to use that time not to survive, not to see how much time we can spend refreshing the news feed and seeing the latest news. No. Now's the time to put our head to the table and focus. What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to accomplish now for the next period of time? And the way to help us get focused is this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha is the perfect way. Most years, the Parsha that we read right after Pesach is Parsha Shmini. Very important message at the beginning of the Parsha. Moses tells Aaron, go forth, go to the altar, go to the Mizbeach and bring your offerings. Krav el HaMizbeach, come close to the altar and bring your offerings. Why does Moshe have to tell Aaron? Why does Moses have to tell Aaron to bring his offering? We have a principle. Kohanim zrizim. Kohanim, the priests are zealous. They're full of zealousness and alacrity. They're determined. They have zeal. They don't have to be told to do the right thing. They know to do the right thing. Why does Aaron have to? And the Rashi says, because Aaron is ashamed. He's ashamed. After all, he was involved on some level with the sin of the golden calf. He's a little hesitant to draw close. And Moshe tells him, Loma Tabosh, why are you embarrassed? Lakach nivkarta. This is why you were chosen. You were chosen for this purpose. On a simple level, there's no room for humility here. This is your role. Say the Hasidic masters, there's something much deeper going on over here. Lama Tabosh, why are you embarrassed? You were chosen because you have a sense of embarrassment. Because you have that shame and that humility and that self-doubt, that's why you were chosen. That's one explanation. The other explanation is the exact opposite. You were chosen in order to have shame, in order to have that self-doubt, in order to have that humility. Not because you have it, but your being chosen will bring you there. Seems to be a contradiction. Was he chosen because of the self-doubt or in order to get to the humility? Because of busha or because it will bring to busha? Because of shame or because it will bring to shame? And what does that mean? Why should he be ashamed? Why will he be ashamed in the future? And very important to define the word busha is not shame as we think of it. Shame in the world today is used when a person's embarrassed, often because of things that's happened to them that are beyond their control. An abuse victim often feels a deep sense of shame. That's not what we're referring to here. We're referring to something very different, as will become clear. See, let me explain with a conversation I had with a student of mine earlier this week. I was talking to my student and I said, there are three groups of people that I interact with at Data Plano. There are the people that come into Data Plano who know very little about Judaism. They've not had the opportunity to study. They've not had the benefit of a Jewish education. They have not brought up in a family that was engaged in Torah study. And many of them also had very little to no observance in their personal lives. But some people come in very motivated. They're motivated to study. They're motivated to grow. And they really get focused. They really take the task to heart and they start studying day in, day out. And they start taking on one mitzvah and another mitzvah and they grow. And then after a few years, 5, 10 years, whatever it is, they're unrecognizable how much they've grown. They've become scholars in their own way. They've become Jews who are truly engaged in their Judaism. That's one group. Then there's another group. The other group is really not interested. For whatever reason, I'm not judging them. They're not interested. They're not motivated. They like being engaged, involved. They like coming to holidays. Maybe they come for a Shabbat dinner once a quarter. Maybe they come to meet me for lunch periodically. They like the rabbis and rebbitzins. Maybe they'll contribute. They don't want to be engaged on a serious, ongoing level. They're not looking for that in their life for whatever reason. Then you have the people in the middle, the people who see where they could be, but they can't quite figure out how to get there. They look at spiritual growth or personal growth or even growth in their marriage or growth as a parent, growth as a human being. They look at that as a mountain and they try scaling the mountain. Like, have you ever gone rock climbing? I find it very difficult. One of the reasons is I'm scared of heights. But also, you climb and you grab one thing to hold on to, and then the next one you pull yourself up and pull yourself up. You leave go for a second, and boom, you're all the way back at the bottom. And many people live their lives that way, moving a step, another step, another step. They leave go, they get overwhelmed, they can't figure out how to cope in life. They give in to a temptation that is counter to where they're trying to go in life. Boom, they're right back to the beginning. Whether it's they're working on anger And then one day they just lose it and they hammer their spouse or child, not physically, but verbally. And then they're like, I'm just right back to the beginning. I just can't do it. Somebody's working on guarding their eyes and not looking at things that are inappropriate, as is such a common malady amongst men today and young men today. And somebody's working on that and they're guarding their eyes and they're setting up a system for themselves and not looking at things inappropriate and not going at sites they shouldn't on the internet and not looking at porn. And then one day the challenge comes and they just can't deal with it and they give in and boom, they're right back to the beginning. And many people live their lives a little move forward, back, and so on, and they're stuck. But they don't feel good about it because they know there's more. They know I should be going further in life. I can be growing. I can do more, but I just can't actualize it. That's the Aaron inside of each one of us. Lama atabosh lekach nifcharto. It's a wonderful level to feel like I can do more than I'm doing in life. That's greatness. The beginning of greatness, I should say, is realizing that I can do more. There's more that I can be doing, and I'm not happy the way I am. I want to know more Torah. I don't want to be on the proverbial page 1 or in the Talmud, the Gemara starts with page 2. I don't want to be on the proverbial page 2. I want to accomplish. I want to know. I don't want to be at this week's Torah portion and say, right, last year we read about it. What was that story again? Who were the different characters? Why did that happen? I want to build on my knowledge. I want to build on my personal growth. I don't want to be that same person dealing with the same issue in anger or lack of kindness or speaking negatively about others, and I'm the same person again and again. No, I want more. That's the beginning of growth. Krav el hamizbeach. Draw close, and take that step. That's why you're chosen. Know you're chosen? You are chosen because you know that there is more. There's more to you. There's more you can accomplish. There's more greatness within yourself that you have not unearthed yet. That's why you're chosen. And life is like a spiral, but it's an upward spiral. You know, we celebrated Pesach. We celebrated Pesach last year and the year before. And we're going to celebrate Pesach next year. But it's not the same Pesach. It's an upward spiral. I'm slowly upping my knowledge in Torah, my level of observance, my level of engagement, my level of being a better spouse, a better parent, a person with more integrity, a person with more substance in themselves. I'm slowly growing from one level to the next. And you know where I get to? When I get to the next level, I feel again a sense of shame and embarrassment, because I now realize there's so much more. Now that I completed the Masechta, now that I completed the tractate, now I'm ready to start. Now that I conquered my anger, now I'm ready to start working on my anger. Now that I overcame that challenge in my life, now I'm ready. Now that I observe Shabbos, boy, am I ready now to begin observing Shabbos. Because mystically, life is referred to as a shell and a fruit. And you have to pierce the shell to get to the fruit. But when you get to the fruit, what do you find? There's another shell. It becomes much more subtle. When you begin working on let's say, the issue of anger in your life, anger is, well, do I explode or not? And then I start learning there's internal rage. And then there's passive aggressive, more and more subtle ways. When I want to control my speech of speaking negatively about others, the first step is when I really want to say something negative, I just walk away. The next step is I stay there and I'm able to bite my lip. But a higher level is I'm able, within my mind, to see something positive instead of negative. I'm able to transform my view of others so that I don't even feel the need to say something negative. But each time, it's a spiral coming right back to the beginning, but on a whole different level. The same challenge, should I say something negative about somebody or not? But now it's not, I'm running out of the room. Before I explode, I'm staying there. I'm not biting my lip. I'm actually able to stay calm and smile and see something positive about the next person. Life is an upward spiral. The situations and circumstances and points in the year repeat themselves, but I'm not the same person. But each time I have an appreciation of the subtle nuances, which is the next step of growth. I'm chosen because I realize there's more to me. And then when I reach the end game, I feel a sense of shame and embarrassment because I realize there's so much more for me to do. And it's a wonderful embarrassment because I realize there's so much more. There's so much more greatness in the nuances and the details that I haven't unearthed yet. And that's why I'm alive, to get there. Now's the time, now that Pesach's over, now that the first 5 weeks of being stuck at home are over, now's the time. We have a solid month. We have 6 weeks ahead of us before the next Jewish holiday of Shavuot. And 6 weeks that quite likely will be at our homes. Now's the time to think about, what is my growth? If you're part of my Kinyan Masechta group, if you're studying Kinyan Masechta with us, if you're part of that group, now's the time to re-engage. We're reviewing the chapter, and now's the time to be involved. And if you're not engaged, I will be after you, because I know that you can do it and you can excel. And if you're not part of a group, now's the time to pick up a book of Torah that inspires you, whether it's the weekly Parsha, whether it's Pirkei Avot, Ethics of the Fathers, whether it's about a character trait, whether it's about a concept in Judaism, about a particular mitzvah. Start studying and create a schedule that inspires you. Don't force yourself. Find something that inspires you and get at it. Break it down. If it's a 100-page book, study 2 pages a day, and you'll be done in 7 weeks, or whatever it might be. Maybe there's a character trait. You know the character trait you should be working on, but you're not. Maybe controlling your mouth. Maybe having a positive view on other people. Maybe motivating yourself. Maybe self-care, self-love, whatever it might be. Get out there and start working on it and start figuring out the plan. What is it that you have to do? That mitzvah that maybe the rabbi or Rebbetzin's been telling you you're really ready for, now's the time to start working on it. Or working on the details of a mitzvah, the nuances of a character trait. Or start learning Torah on a deeper level. Or start making sure that you're really retaining what you're studying and not just reading it. Whatever it is, we've got 6 weeks to Shavuot, 6 weeks to the next holiday, the holiday of receiving the Torah. Now's the time to start and look in the mirror and say, there's more to me than I've developed. There's more greatness within myself. And I'm going to realize that, and I'm going to express it and create a plan day in, day out, while you're at home, while you're with your family, which is the perfect time to work on your character. Don't work on your character when you're on a mountaintop by yourself. Work on your character when you're right in the game, right in the middle of things. Kids driving you crazy, kids spilling their milk, child waking up middle of the night, your spouse getting on your nerves because you're allowing that to happen. Stress at work. In the middle of that, work on being a person of calm, of serenity. Work on controlling your anger. Work on your kindness. Whatever it might be, do something. But get a schedule, and now's the time to work at it day in, day out. And we're here to help you. If you'd like to study with one of the rabbis or Rebbetzins, if you'd like some guidance, if you'd like encouragement, we're here for you. So have a wonderful Shabbos, and spend time this Shabbos thinking about, meditating, the more that's within you, and where you're going to get to, and how you're just going to start over on a whole deeper level then, and appreciate this wonderful journey within yourself. We love each of you, we miss you, and may Hashem help that through this process, we'll have the experience of going deep in ourselves, and when we come back together real soon, we won't even recognize each other because of how much we've grown. Shabbat Shalom.